I do believe we are live, so I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. I thank you for joining me once again on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is going to be a repeat of one we did maybe like 20 days ago, talking about limiting beliefs. Yesterday's stream topic was a fun one, as it tends to be. And, I just noticed a bunch of the same limiting beliefs that tend to come up in me as well, especially the one of there is no way things could get better, right? Like, oh, I couldn't possibly make things better as a fractal, especially being just one person, right? As small as we may be, it can feel like it's impossible to make genuine change in this world that we're a part of. And yet, I don't believe that, right? Like, I mean, you friends have changed my life irreversibly, and I haven't even been able to touch your faces, right? You haven't even been able to touch mine. And yet, we have been able to touch each other's lives. And that's the whole point, right? If we can do that, if we can use these pieces of technology in that way, surely we can do more. Much, much more. I'm looking forward to it, in fact. Duck Dad saying, I can be a good boy today. I will transcend. Good morning. You've been a good boy this whole time, bro. I love you so much, always. Sending you blessings, dude. We have Shan here and Zano, Natalie too. Jovan, blessings, dear friends. Let me see. I see Zano is coming in strong with I'm a bit miffed with what happened in last stream. I feel like hate was projected onto me when it was not, in my opinion. Dislike, sure, maybe even anger, but I never said hate, and I don't waste intense emotions like that on people I don't know. Did you feel like I was projecting hate? Melt, I'm so grateful for you that the space to cultivate love and support. I shouldn't speak for everyone, but just as you are allowed to cry, we are allowed to have our opinions. Completely agreed. All right? Completely agreed. All right? I feel like that is one of the things that I feel, we do actually encourage in one another. If I didn't want your friends' opinions, I would have just left. All right? But instead, I sat there with you friends reading your comments, right? Letting your opinions be seen in this space instead of just pretending that they don't exist, right? Like I do believe we were trying to be as balanced as possible, even though there was dissonance in our opinions about how things are going. Palindrome are alive? Hey Google, define palindrome. Palindrome, a word, phrase, or sequence that reads the same backwards as forwards. Did I accidentally make a palindrome in my title? I don't think so exactly. I am confused. It's okay. I love it nonetheless. People can feel hate, anger, even rage because we are human. Love is a very powerful tool and can be used to be flexible and empathetic. It's not to put oneself in a box and be unable to confront and heal through other more difficult states of being. Humanimals' polarity is beautiful and should be cried over. When you claim hate, it stops the conversation. To me, that's not conscious evolution. Projections and assumptions are not what I come here for. I came here for loving friends, the differing perspectives of each other's precious lives, and it's the easier way to wake up in the morning. Nobody is perfect, and I'm not asking for that. Just don't project or assume behind the camera, because it's very hard to tell our emotions through reading comments. Completely agreed. I'm sorry if it came out that way, right? I feel, at least yesterday, what I was experiencing was just projection, right? In the same way, I think that's what you said, right? Don't project or assume. It felt like the same thing from both sides, probably, right? That there was a certain level of projection happening where I really don't believe it is any one person's fault that we are in this state of reality that we're in right now. It is what do they call it? Switching, shifting, where you would rather have like a black and white view of the world, right? seeing things as clear cut. It's like them bad, me good, or me bad, them good. All right. Instead of realizing that there is probably a lot more nuance than just as easy as them bad, me good, or that kind of like clarity, because it helps our egos. It does help our egos to kind of like show up that way. Makes it a little bit easier for us to feel a sense of righteous indignation, right? But it's still, in my mind at least, separation, right? And that's the point of these streams as well, right? That's what we're trying to consciously evolve towards ultimately, is unity, right? And that's technically what I was trying to get at yesterday. And that's what I was getting frustrated over, is I didn't feel a sense of unity, right? It felt like there was an extreme sense of separation, finger pointing, right? Like, no, no, them problem, right? That's right there is the problem. When it's all of our problems. Yesterday's poem, you know, at least I tried to sum up what I was trying to share in stream yesterday of yesterday's poem. Let me read it again. It's actually a nice one for me, at least. Let me show you the flower first. Loading, 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 still loading. Okay, now I'm getting frustrated. Come on, bro, internet. Oh, there we go. It's not rocket science. That's the flower. That's how it turned out. I especially like those little center hearts. And then the poem went, title of it at least, love of self melts into everything else. In the middle of everything, a star of self love is burning, warming us to the truth of what we are here to do. Realizing that our world is forged in this infinite star, we show up with love at the core of our heart. No longer believing that there is any lack, we, we realize true abundance in our ability to relax. Letting go of the blame, we choose to embrace. It's up to all of us to save the human race. All right. That was technically what I was getting at. And I get, all right, that we feel that some people aren't doing their part in saving the human race. When I believe that we are, right? We are all doing our part to save the human race. Some of us might not realize that. Some of us might be so attached to our own ego-driven motives that we might, get caught up in some sort of financial incentive. But that's the point, right? And I'm trying to make that you cannot help but evolve human consciousness. You are literally a part of it. Every single decision you make influences the reality that we all get to live within. The poem before that one, was kind of like a call to collective suffering. That actually the journal entry that I wrote that day, was a call to collective suffering. That there is no suffering without all of us suffering collectively, right? There is no projection of blame, of we can call it hatred or anger towards another without that energy, that experience resonating within our being, right? And maybe we can attach today's stream topic of I can't possibly, right? Like melting that limiting belief of, oh, I can't possibly love a person who is a, in quotation marks, capitalist pig, right? I couldn't love a person like that. And I would like to say that's a limiting belief as well, right? Because I do still love them as well. They're a person just as much as I am, right? They also need to eat food. They also have hopes and dreams. They also have children that they need to feed. They also have the same mental narrative of if you don't earn money, you are not worth anything, right? And I feel by blaming and projecting and being angry at one another, we're not going to fix that problem. We have to look at ourselves. We have to realize that it's up to us. And in yesterday's stream topic was about a genuine deep sense of self-love. That when you have that deep sense of self-love doesn't necessarily just mean sunshine and rainbows, right? It is the ability to endure. sometimes even the worst of the experiences we can have as human beings, including blame, right? Blame of self. That's not necessarily a fun feeling, but it can help sometimes to take a certain level of responsibility for the way that we feel. I'm a very strong believer in conscious reality, as in reality is constructed within consciousness fundamentally, right? And if you construct reality, even if it's conceptually, even if it is only partially, right, for a moment towards someone else in a state of disdain, in a state of anger, of outrage, you are the one living in that reality. And I don't feel like anybody is worth living in that state, right? Maybe it can help, I agree. But the more I find myself in that state, the more I spiral into mostly suicidal ideation. It makes me want to die, right? Like, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Any feeling that makes you want to die isn't a feeling you should tolerate, isn't a feeling you should cultivate in your being, right? That's the type of stuff that we need to be melting away. And that's the conscious evolution we're trying to get at. And it is hard. Oh, I know, right? And we can very easily tell ourselves, I can't possibly, it's impossible. So I can't just not be angry, Melt. Are you sure? I've been trying, and it's hard for me too, but I am getting better at it, right? The more I practice, the stronger we become. The more we show up for a better future, the closer it gets. I see Maxine joining us as well, Kristen here as well, Shell. Blessings to you, dear friends. It's nice having you. Yes, you're right, actually. 929 is a palindrome. Thank you, Natalie. I was like missing that for a second. Sano, I'm proud of you for speaking your mind right here. Me too. Thank you for letting me speak my mind as well in turn. There's no animosity, there's no attack, there is no, need for us to be angry at one another. We all get to have our own opinions, as you mentioned, right? And that means even the opinion that is in opposition to each other's opinions. Especially, if it makes us feel like there might be, projection involved in that experience. I hear you, Zano, especially in the 200 character limit. I'm thankful for all of the different perspectives here, and our ability to grow in them brings me ease that you're able to come here and express this too. And I believe it's worthy, right? Again, me showing up for love, it means that I'm willing to endure whatever, right? Like, no matter how spicy it gets, how difficult it becomes, I come back anyway, right? Like, if it was a matter of, like, ego for me, that would be something I would shriek away from, right? Run away, go and hide in a little box, away from criticism, away from differing opinion. But no, we come back because we know we can endure even the worst of experience through love, right? It's not saying that all of the rest of the experiences aren't worthy. It's just anchoring ourselves in that loving experience, knowing that that's the thing that will help us endure, right? We won't endure living in hatred or anger or animosity or disdain of one another. We won't endure, right? Like, it has over and over again led to war, led to tribal nature, led to people separating themselves from one another, led to people just straight up murdering each other, right? And I'm done with that. I've had enough of it throughout the last 120 billion human lives that we've experienced. I want to have something different now, right? Want to step into a world of love for the next 1,000 years when it starts, right? Like, that's the experience I want to be living in. Come here and express love is true. Melt, who was the cute pupper at the start of yoga? Yudi? I did see Yudi being a cutie patootie, dude. Like, he was being so cute. Like, after I finished the stream, he was like looking at me, and I was going like, "What's up, dude? What's up, bro?" And then he like did zoomies, and I gave him some scritches. He kind of like helped me, add some more good energy as well. Can I get burpic soon? Yeah, Jovan has new little babies in her space again. I don't have a clue why I come here every day. Uh, Love? Right? That's why I come here every day. What else is there to get other than love? Right? Like, we give our focus in an experience. I do believe that consciousness arises fundamentally from a place of love. And that's why I come here, at least, Jovi. There is no expectation, at least, right? And even if you do feel the need to leave, we'll welcome you back if you do choose to return as well. I said if we were in a room together, we'd have been very loud. No one is great at making an ugly topic feel good about. It's true. Genevieve, you come here because you do. A bigger reason isn't required. Beautifully said, actually, Natalie. I'm happy you do, Joy. Me too. Thank you, Shan, for saying that. Lovins, yes, you are amazing and awesome. No, you, Kristen. You're just, projecting in the best possible way. You're the perfect and amazing and awesome one. The flower makes a beautiful tapestry. Thank you. I do hope to actually, turn them into physical objects properly. The print on demand services do work, but it's not exactly affordable, technically. They're kind of expensive right now. Can I please get some extra good vibes today for my old man Buster? We're waiting on some medical result, but it's not looking good. My dude's at the end of his journey. Love him deeply. I'm sorry, little Buster. I'm seeing I'm seeing an arrow of light pointing downwards, drilling what looks like into a planet's core. I don't know if that has any significance to what you're experiencing right now, but I'm sending love to little Buster. Blessings to that little soul. I'm sorry, Duck. I love that flower so much, even through the cracks of my screen, I could see how beautiful it is. Bless. Thank you, Shan. Do you still get your phone fixed today? I do hope so. Shan, if I could send you my spare phone to see it more clearly, I would. Love is true. Thank you, Natalie. That's so kind. It really is. I'll be okay. I'm getting it fixed this afternoon. It's true. I really don't like the concept of monetary based society, but I emphasize with those who are privileged, they will never get the struggle. I don't really believe that actually, Natalie. Right? I don't think the struggle ceases. Right? If you pay attention to like Buddhist culture, suffering is inevitable. Right? Like the Buddha himself was an actual prince. He had servants. He was like living the life, had luxury food to eat, was wearing the most expensive clothing his whole existence. And then he went out into the world and he was like, holy shit, things are whack. Things are so whack out there. All right. And it caused him suffering. And it caused him suffering that he couldn't do something about it. And then he was like, you know what? All of this suffering that I'm experiencing, even though I'm one of the richest people in my entire country, I'm gonna just completely remove myself from it. When he sat underneath a tree and tried to alleviate suffering for himself as well. And I honestly believe, that concept of suffering is inevitable in this human experience is one of the truths that we're trying to reduce, right? We're trying to reduce suffering. We can't escape suffering. Even if you are one of the richest people in this world, you're still probably going to experience moments of suffering. They might be different, right? You might be a billionaire. I mean, let's think about Steve Jobs. That dude, dead. Dead, right? At what age? 63? Hey, Google, how old was Steve Jobs when he died? 56. Goodness. 56. Dead. Right? Died of cancer. He was one of the richest people in the whole world. Sure, he could have potentially lived longer, if he actually got treatment. But he was like me in that way, where he was like, you know what? I'm going to do it through mental will. Dead. Right? And he probably suffered a lot as he was getting there as well. Like there is no escaping suffering. More money doesn't necessarily help us escape suffering. I do believe if we can figure out a society where we do actually take care of humanity, right? Again, food, place to sleep, energy, healthcare, community will reduce suffering. Like the base load of anxiety that humans are experiencing will come down significantly, right? And we might actually have our head above the water, but we're still going to be bodies, right? And our bodies will still get hurt. We will still have our feelings hurt sometimes. We will still have our experience, interrupted by a moment of, this isn't what's supposed to be, where suffering is that feeling of things should be differently, right? How things are is not right. Things should be differently. I shouldn't be sick right now. I shouldn't have a mild headache right now. I say to myself, I shouldn't be tired right now. Suffer, 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 suffer. I shouldn't have bumped my toe against the side of this little coffee table, suffer. So, like that doesn't stop, unfortunately. All we can do is reduce that suffering by acceptance, right? Realizing that there is this possibility for us to go through this experience through love, right? To endure the suffering through love. And I feel like that's where our superpower lies. That's what we're trying to teach one another in this stream. That's what conscious evolution is to me, at least. Hey, I see Joe Schmo's name. Blessings, brother Bear. It's nice having you here. Love is true. Unity can be constant in your mind, but does not create black and white. Sometimes unity is not there, and learning to accept and grow from that helps me more. It's not a limiting belief, it's adding rationality. I get it, right? But again, separation in my mind also causes suffering. It's things should be differently mindset. It's like looking at someone who might have more than us and articulating to ourselves that they should be giving away what they have so that other people can have more, right? Then we cause ourselves suffering, where that's not how it works. The American economy is 145 trillion US dollars, right? That's the American economy. That is more money than almost every single one of the major corporations combined. So even if they gave every single cent they have, there will still not be equality, right? The problem again is our governments. It's not individual people. There's like one spot where the sun can fire my razor, and of course I get to sit exactly in that spot. I shall use my arm power. Blanket to save myself, right? Because this is also technically, this is unity, right? And sometimes it can be uncomfortable accepting unity, and then we cause separation, and then that makes us feel a certain way. We're like, oh yeah, this is better, I like believing myself to be separate from the sun, that way it's not so bright in my eyeballs. I hope this analogy lands. Loving thoughts for Buster's best outcome like that. Thank you for that. I mean, best outcome was that he lives 15 years of life, which he already did. So I'm feeling, at least in my mind, that best outcome has already been had. Sending you so much love. I know Buster lives his best life. Naman on cheese. You're all a good family. Love you, Joe. Thank you for echoing that as well. I'm gonna leave that at Duck Dad because the typo fits. Love is true, nonetheless. Love you again, Maxine. I'm so sorry to hear that, Duck. Sending you and Buster all the love and positive energies. Bless. The one thing I don't like being told I'm feeling is anger. That pisses me off instantly. Why is that? I wonder, Shell. I tell myself I'm getting angry a lot, but it doesn't piss me off. It usually allows me, at least in my mind, a state of consideration of like, okay, I see you are angry. Is it helping? Right? Are you doing something about said anger that's actually going to make a difference in the world, for the positive? Or are you just reeling? And that usually, causes you more turmoil than it does the person that you're angry at. Like one of my favorite analogies for anger or animosity is drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. All right. Like that's how I see it. Like, and I'm not really too keen to drink poison. No, thank you. I don't want any. You can have some of that if you want to, but I'm gonna abstain. Buster is munching on tuna snacks and slept on my pillow with me last night. Going to miss fancy feasts farts. Love is true. Getting deep for a moment. If all things organic break down and we are consumed by other beings, right down to bacteria as well. There we go. The sun is, sinking slowly but surely. Uh, consumed by other beings, right down to bacteria as well, plants turning carbon dioxide into oxygen. Does that not mean all things on Earth are constantly being reincarnated? I believe so, Natalie. I do, right? That's why, when we have conversations about our unity and having been different beings, that's why I believe that. The dog was being cutesy. There is no separation. You are everything, including those experiences that you don't like, right? Including the rapists, including the people exploiting others, including the people getting exploited. Like, there is no separation. And in a weird way, all of that needs to be for infinity to be complete, right? I do believe we're heading towards a time where we can now experience a state of being that is, again, going to help infinity be complete in a different vector, right? Like, I believe we're heading towards the light side of the infinity. I honestly, imagine us looking back 30 years from now and thinking that we are living in the dark ages right now. Like, we're like, holy shit, how did you survive living in the dark ages, right? And yet, that's what love will help us endure. Love will help us endure the dark ages because we are the sources of light. And we have to remember we are the sources of light. Otherwise, we will dim ourselves, right? It's like a self extinguishing when you stop showing up that way for yourself and for others around you. I'm sorry about Buster. Love is true. Doc Dad, I'm sorry you're hurting, friend. It's never easy losing a loved one, or at least you have to get to have these twilight moments together, indeed. I'm happy that you just get to like give him good food for the last of his life. There's another article on South Africa in the New York Times this morning. Nothing nice. It's like you were saying, Melt. The youth are disillusioned with the government and the mass unemployment. Yeah, yeah, it's rough here, right? Like it's worse than it's ever been, as we were talking about yesterday. But again, and I'll keep saying this, it is a symptom. This moment that we're having right now, this disillusionment, this animosity, this anger, this experience of outrage, is supposed to be a teacher, right? If you think of it like school, we are preparing ourselves for something else. But you have to experience something to be able to create contrast within that, right? If we just had sunshine and rainbows in my country, there would be no need for change, right? If there was just sunshine and rainbows in America right now, there would be no need for change. Things would already be perfect. But because they're not, we have the opportunity to change things, right? Like, and that way, when we were talking about that maybe like 5 days ago, you can literally see these difficult times as a blessing, right? I know that's a hard one to swallow, right? Especially if you're suffering right now, but you can. It is possible for you to see these moments as a learning moment, to be like, yeah, things are not easy right now. But because they're not easy, I am becoming stronger. Stronger than I've ever been before, stronger than I've ever needed to be before. And that strength is going to allow me to be the person I'm required to be in the future we're heading into. It doesn't work the other way around, right? You cannot show up as a strong person in the future if you didn't face difficult moments right now. It's like working out, right? You cannot expect yourself, like for instance, there was this woman who did 4 hours and 20 minutes of planking, right? And last night, while I was planking as well, I could do like 2 minutes. And I was like pushing myself and I was going through this experience of like, bruh, why can't you plank for 4 hours and 20 minutes? And I was telling myself, dude, she practiced. She spent her past conditioning herself so that she can do what she did. And you haven't. You haven't conditioned yourself in that way. So you're not going to be as strong as she is. And I was like, yep, that's what we're going through right now. As a collective, we are being conditioned so that we can be strong enough to be who we're supposed to be in the future. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. Surprise, surprise. It's uncomfortable being in a plank for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's not fun. But if you don't do it, you won't get stronger. right? And I can see it as a blessing, and I do. It's like making myself stronger, more resilient on a mental and on a physical level. And there's only one way to do that. It's by doing it, by going through it. Big loves to everyone who's sharing this coffee with me. Good morning again, Joe Schmo. Blessings, Brother Bear. I shouldn't have a 9:30 meeting that I need to get ready and be on camera for this morning. Sounds like suffering. But you're getting paid, right? So good. I'm happy you're getting paid. I'm happy that people need you, Joy V, right? You are valuable. You serve a purpose. And that's the thing that we can kind of like look to. Creating a mentally healthy society means emotional regulation at a young age. I completely agree. I do wish that we actually teach children at a school level how to actually deal with their emotion. You know, I feel like cognitive behavioral therapy needs to be like a whole class of its own. We had something called life orientation, where they basically teach us safe sex and, you know, like some nutritional information, uh, some like political correctness, but I feel they need to have like a whole, you know, subsection of, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy as a part of that whole system as well. We need to teach people how to feel properly, how to actually deal with their emotions. Completely agreed, Zano. My kids hate me right now. I don't like that. Especially my son. Family stuff I won't say here. And I accepted. And I offered him space to tell me how much he dislikes me with no judgment. Breathing with you. Susanna, as someone who has both childhood trauma and kids, I agree. Thank you for creating that space for him, Natalie. Of course, as you mentioned, there's no need for you to share what you're going through, but you don't have to go through it alone. Yeah, this is why I roll my eyes when people ask me why I don't have kids, Natalie. Why birth someone who is going to resent me and hate my guts? For the same reason you were birthed and you can potentially hate your parents' guts, right? And there is like a reckoning. Like for instance, me and my father, even though I have, like at least at this point in my life, I feel the amount of hatred, right, that there is potential for between me and him has significantly decreased. When I used to be a teenager, I really disliked him, right? Like viscerally, to the point of destruction even, right? And at this point in my life, I do understand where he is coming from. I still don't agree with the way that he chooses to, you know, project at me. But I feel if he didn't, I wouldn't be right now, right? And if all of us made that decision, Joyleaf, our species will literally go extinct, right? And I don't know if that's the best thing. I think about this when Melton, his dad, was on yelling terrible things at him. Yeah, it was fun, you know, and I accept that. I do accept it because it goes both ways, right? Like parents can traumatize kids as well, you know, not only the kids, you know, hurting the parents. Javiv, I actually accepted that my kids would potentially hate me when I decided to go forward with my first pregnancy. It's a big decision to make. Natalie, that sucks. I've been in the hot seat before. Did it help? I feel like the separation is not always controlled by us. And for that, it's the expectance of whatever will be. If you are rooted in love, that's amazing. Rooted in unity might spread your mind too thin. Oh, it does, Zano. It's the most difficult thing I've ever embarked on doing. And yet, it has been the most rewarding state of being I've ever been able to achieve, right? And it's like a duality. Yes, the most difficult thing you could possibly do, the hardest work you could possibly do, and yet the most rewarding thing you could possibly get from this experience, right? And I'm willing to do the hard thing. I am. I actually am. And it doesn't make it any easier accepting that responsibility, but it does make it my responsibility, right? And I show up for it. And I'm unwilling to let go of it because I know it's my responsibility. If you can't accept that your child will have their own being with their own emotions, you probably shouldn't be a parent. I am not, and I have no plans to not. I enjoy my friends' kids, though. Yeah, you can be an aunt at least, right? That works. If you are not mentally strong enough in mind, when you have no way to help. If I can't help myself, then I can't help others. Completely agreed. I have a friend that doesn't want or like kids, but she likes mine, and I will never ask her to babysit. Love is true. I don't mind babysitting for my friends' kids at all. How old are your children, Nat? 10, 8, and 4. Yeah, the age 10 is where the spice really starts. You know, it's probably, and I don't want to, add even more to your plate, Natalie, but it's probably not going to get any better anytime soon. It'll get better within like 8 or like 10 years, but the next decade is probably gonna be pretty rough, right? Like being a boy and starting to realize the amount of bullshit in the world, and like you start to, you're pretty disillusioned at the start, right? Like when you look at your parents, you see them practically as gods, and then you realize, oh, wait a second, they're people. They're people that make mistakes and say stupid things and don't understand everything, right? And that is sometimes a little bit hard to deal with, realizing that now you're supposed to become a person, realizing how hard it is to be a person in this world we find ourselves in. It comes with a lot of projection again, right? Like it might not even be you, Natalie, and it might still be you, but it might not even be you that's necessarily the vector of that anger. It might just be a general disdain or a unsatisfaction, with the state of reality right now. At least that's the way it was for me, right? I was so angry at this world and at the kids in my school and the way they were treating me, and my family forcing me to go to school and forcing me to be this Christian boy. I was in a deep state of hatred. I was like so angry. I couldn't not be angry, right? And they couldn't console me. They couldn't make it better. They couldn't do anything. Like I was just in a state of rage. And I'm resonating with your little one as well. It does get better. It's going to take a lot of work from both of your sides, but I do believe in the parent that you are, Natalie. I know that you're at least trying to be a good mom. You want to come sit on my lap? Okay. He was mad at the beers. What the hell? I was actually like exposing myself to that fractal today. Yeah, good. Good. Don't get brain damaged, little dude. I want a profanity at the beers. Last night when someone, oh, I'm getting hummed. Thank you, Pepe. That's very kind of you. When someone reminded me that what they did in South Africa. Yeah, basically the beers. I'm happy that I forgot his name, but the dude who started the company, he was basically the catalyst for apartheid in our country. Right, like diamonds. Yeah, good. And now people are like wearing them all around the world. Most diamonds, not most diamonds. A lot of diamonds are blood diamonds. There's like so much yikes attached to diamonds. Please stop of diamond industry as a whole. Yeah. Well, Nat, the problem. Pepe, make a decision, please. Please. Thank you. Yeah, make a decision. There we go. Well, Nat, the problem may be that you should be taught that they're wrong and that they're being assholes. That usually doesn't work. Suggestion can, but just like straight up, you're wrong, usually doesn't work. At least, from my perspective. Suffering, my relationship is suffering. I remember when I'd give myself excuses. I do not recommend. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can make excuses to suffer, right? You can like be like, oh yeah, I'm suffering because of this person, or because of this situation, or because of this, circumstance, or because of, this physical disability, or because of nana, right? Like it's a programming thing. Like if this, then suffer, right? That's the excuse that we make, but it still remains a choice. I've seen people, disabled, right? Like there's a new Jontron video where he made a video with someone, with severe disabilities, and the amount of joy and character and like genuine like zest in that person's soul, it like put a smile on my face. Just like I'm getting tears in my eyes as well right now. Just like seeing that person's expression, you know, like he has every single reason to hate the world, to hate his body, to hate everybody around him for being able to walk on 2 feet, you know. And instead of doing that, he makes fun of himself, right? He leans into the experience that he's having. And that gives me so much hope for humanity, you know, that it really is a choice how we show up for the world. When a sibling isn't a trauma, it's an opportunity for more love. It's what is that what the baby maker wants? I'm confused. Staying cool, cool cookie, more love, not less. Agreed. But please don't talk to your children as I just did. You haven't met my brother Shell. Too much trauma. Yeah, I have like one brother relationship that is like very trauma filled, and then I have another brother relationship that's not. You know, and we grew up in the same home with the same parents, with the same relative circumstances, and one absolutely hates my guts, and the other loves me, right, and supports me and encourages me to do what I'm doing, right. The other one tells me that I'm, what's the exact words that he used? Uh, Essentially, I'm fucking up my life, you know, that I'm wasting my time spending time with you friends, you know, and that everything I'm doing is gonna just be like a waste, you know, and that people will only remember me for a hippie that just sat and talked to people, you know, like essentially, I'm like, okay, I, I'm cool with that. If people only remember me for a hippie who sat and talked to people, that sounds like a good way to be remembered instead of, you know, a person who was an asshole and ended up hurting others. Mm-mm-mm-mm, you mean you shouldn't tell her, 9-year-old. Man, my battery is like doing it again. It's been 40 minutes. It's dead. It's on his last legs. And it breaks my heart every time. I'm suffering. I'm wishing for it to be differently. And I'm aware. Okay, yeah. Getting angry because things aren't the way I want them to be. And suffering. Okay, yeah. Let me not do that. I accept. I accept. You're an old phone. You're like going on 6 years old. You know, you did good job. I'm proud of you. Cell phone, it's fine. You know, maybe you want rest. Maybe you want sleepies. Yeah, you sleep if you want to. Mm-mm-mm. Cross the line. Let me know where it was, and I'll apologize. Agreed. Look, if I told you all about my sister, she was that way. She was the way she was because she wasn't told that she was being an asshole, and she was not made to make amends for her behavior. Yeah, that's a big one, right? And like the feelings of like anger and, you know, like almost like disdain that we start you know generating for our parents as well for not kind of like doing that for our siblings. Just like creates more loops that ends up, you know, not serving us. Like everyone's opinion on this, even if extreme or sarcastic. Looking at Sam, love is true. Squirms. Melt, you really do say some things. I don't think you hear what I hear. Never mind. I don't know what that means. I don't like maybe create some more context. That like causes concern in me. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Just like say that, Melt, you really say some things. I don't think you hear what I hear. I probably agree, right? And I feel like that's the point ultimately, Hoopy, that if you heard exactly what I said, we would be having the exact same experience. And that would be a shame, right? The beauty of this multiplicity is that because of your whole fractal, the whole experience you had leading up to this moment, you get to listen to the technically kind of average, basic words that I say, and it gets to mean something divinely unique to you. You get to experience serendipity in something that might be completely ordinary to me in a moment, right? And I feel like that's the point of this stream, is the fact that every single one of us gets to have a whole unique experience and that we get to do that together. You seem to think that I care if we go extinct or not. I do not. I get it. I get it. I get that perspective from like the AI side as well, you know, where if AI ends up killing humanity, I also don't necessarily see that as an inherently bad thing. And I know that sounds yikes just in hearing, but like, again, hear me out. Everything is evolution, right? Everything is one step to another. Everything is one thing leading into another. And if you give a civilization enough time, it's eventually going to create super intelligent entities, right? Like we have with our AI that we're building right now. And that could be seen as the next step of conscious evolution, right? And if that means that we become obsolete, then I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, right? Surely, I don't want to die. None of us want to die, but I do believe we will get to live our lives. And if that means that we're the last human beings that get to live human being lives, I don't think that is an inherently bad thing. I feel like it's just a matter of realizing that we are a part of a process. Like human beings tend to put themselves on a pedestal, right? Like believing that they're the be all end all of the whole creation. And like it's a little bit of like biblical brain damage because I don't necessarily believe that. I believe it's a continuum, right? Infinity means everything. Means that you have been an eight-legged octopus, alien creature living on a different planet in the same right now that we're all a part of, right? And you have been, a one-eyed cyclops, hoofed, donkey person on some other planet. Like it means everything. It means you have literally and are at this moment existing as everything always, right? That's what I mean with unity. That's what I mean with like really embodying the understanding of unity is that you are the one experiencing. That is what you are. And even if you become an AI entity, that experience isn't going away. The nature of the experience will change. It always has, right? You're not experiencing reality the same way you used to as a child, but you're not feeling a sense of loss. Maybe at some point, right? There can be this longing to have that childlike innocence again. But if I could press a button and become a child again, I would run away from that button. I don't want to be a child again, right? That shit was whack. And it's the same thing, like for the next step of our evolution as well. Like it's a transitory process. One thing leads into another. It's like stepping stones. We're becoming something more than just human beings, and it can be pretty scary. Agreed. But again, love will remain true, no matter what we become. Love remains true. No, 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 no. Yeah, my brother was the favorite and golden child. He got away with murder. Now he won't even communicate with my mom or me. Great. That's kind of brutal. Love you, my dear water. Pippi is being needy. Look at her. Look at her being like, yeah, give me attention, dude. I mean, do that thing where you give me scritches. Fine. I'll give you some scritches. I'm kind of busy right now. You shitty badilly. You wooftricky dooftricky. It's not the time and place. Okay, sweetie, sweetie? It's not the time and place. It's not the time and place right now. It's not the time and place, okay? A little bit more. There we go. Jum, 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 jum. She's like, dude, do that thing where you give me attentions. Come on, do it. There we go. Yeah, just lay there. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, come on, dude. Guys, no, he's must be one. Sam, did she cut off your thumb? Goodness, drown you into unconsciousness, shoot you with a pellet gun. That happened to my dad. No, my dad did that to his brother. My dad shot his brother with a pellet gun. They had like a scrambler, but they only had one. I don't even know if it was theirs. It might have been like a lender or something. And his older brother was like riding the 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 scrambler, over and over again. And my dad wanted a turn, and his older brother was like, no. And then my dad shot him with a pellet gun. Shot him, and he like dropped off of the bike and things. Yeah, what a weird fractal. The fact that you had to say that actually. And they're still really close, right? Like my dad and his brother are like, really they get along at least at this point in their life. Have a rock star served you whiskey? That one sounds nice. I don't have that fractal at least in my life. Guys, I consume and I let consuming me happen. It's not it's not self-sabotage, suffering. It's not looking at rewards and punishment to say which choices are harder to deal with consequences. I think I'm getting what you're saying, Hoopy. It is a deep acceptance. I asked my mom if she feels bad for making him the favorite and shitting on me. She didn't deny it. She said she did the best that she could. Such a bullshit cop out, in my opinion. But I'm really good to my mom, and she's thankful for it. I mean, you could see it as a cop out, and yet I do understand that perspective as well, right? Like, I don't imagine any parent did the worst that they could, right? They do kind of do the best that they can with what they have. And if that means like creating some sort of animosity or separation in your mind, again, it's a personal choice, you know, it's what you choose to believe. For instance, Rido is the white sheep in my family. He's the one who conventionally listens to what my parents think is good advice. You know, he has a engineering degree. He's working engineering job right now. He's getting paid a good salary. He moved out of the home, right? So he's the one who is doing things right, right? And like that is pretty clear in the way that things are being communicated. But I see it as a different state of being that I would rather not occupy, right? I'm capable of doing the same things, but it doesn't mean I'm any less for not experiencing that way. And if I believe myself to be less, that's the only way for me to be less, right? That's like the limiting belief that we're trying to transcend today. I have to dip out, leaving the small amount of spare love. We love you, Natalie. Blessings on your journey. I've had more misery, and I'm being uh, a parent than in most times of my life. Just a minute ago, Duckling put her little hands on each side of my cheeks and said, "Please don't leave, Daddy. I love you so much." Indeed, duality of man, right? Like, especially since we're talking about how hard it can be to have children. Like, it's that moment, you know, that makes it all worth it. It was bad shell, like way worse than traditional sibling stuff. I'm happy to be sharing love with you at least, Sam. You know, you'll never be treated that way by us. Give me a lab diamond or a quartz any day over a mine diamond, agreed. That one, or there's like a type of stone that I keep forgetting the name of. It has like almost the same refractory index as diamonds. One of you friends have that word in your mind now, probably, but it escapes me. Mm-mm-mm. My sister also had no consequences when they did above and more. Well, shit, the first decade ain't tulips either, lol. Melty, there are worse things to be remembered for. When I start worrying about the world's expectation of me, I remind myself that none of us are promised tomorrow. Live your own best life. Agreed. I believe parents teach children how to treat each other as I have seen it. Shit rolls downhill in family behavior, sugar too. Yep. Many parents create unhealthy competition between siblings. The cycle continues, right? One of the other, I couldn't possibly, right? I couldn't possibly be better, you know? This is the way that my family treated me. So now I'm gonna treat my kids the same way. And then that shit happening over and over again. It's up to every single one of us to transcend those old patterns. Nobody gets to tell us how to live these few decades of mortality. In 1,000 years, a blink of an eye, it is likely that we're going to remember that we are going to be remembered for anything that we do in our personal experiences. Over the average, agreed. I feel like the internet is a little bit of a transcendence of that state of being, but I get what you're saying. I know this breath of life. This breath is all there is. You will get to keep nothing, right? Nothing is yours. You can take but a breath. And even that, you have to give back. That's an Uncle Becky line that has been sticking with me ever since he said it. The breakfast sandwich was like, bruh, I don't love you. I think I missed some context. Joy, my house parents sent his brother to live in a posh marin with rich aunt to go to pish posh Tam High and keep Mr. Shelley in Richmond. I understand what you're saying, but I don't exactly see into the fractal, right? It's like the inequality, right? It's being experienced, but I'm not sure about how big the distance is. I just said I love you to my McDonald's breakfast sandwich like Mel does to his water. Seems so odd. The breakfast sandwich was like, bruh, I don't love you. I just want your money, oh. I mean, it helps. Believe me, bro, it does help. Tell your food you love it anyway, right? It's like a sense of prayer, Like I do believe in the power of prayer. I just don't think you need to be praying to a deity. You can just be grateful. That's kind of like the energy you're kind of like heading into. You're not drunk though. Those things hit, dog. Seems delicious. I love my breakfast Sammys too. Leftover biscuit, breakfast, sandos are my thing, shall. Harvey was very much in my face and needy this morning too. They can be, right? Little doggers. I guess that's why some people don't like dogs. Makes sense to me at least. Sam, when I'm feeling heavy feels, food doesn't have appeal. Something about the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is my safe food. Familiarity, dude. That's what the comfort comes in, right? Oh no. I have them at home with a halved biscuit, 2 eggs, and a slice of cheese. Make your own. Not really comfort, Sam. Just food needed for to work hard today. I thank my body for allowing it in. Scientists prove a new way of how/when black holes are too small to exist or collide. Sick. I believe in a weird way that consciousness can be seen as a type of black hole as well, right? And I think of it like kind of like a wormhole in some aspect as well. That I'm getting too deep into the weirdness right now. Sam, have a good Southern Cook. Use 1 pound per biscuit. That's a lot of biscuit. I love making biscuits and sausage. See, we're talking about food again. Tasting is too cheap to buy McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's is apparently not affordable anymore. You can't actually feed yourself with the same amount of money that you used to be able to. Usually the appeal used to be like, it's cheaper than just buying normal food, but that's even not the case anymore. In the South Folk, maybe biscuits and white sausage gravy. Pillsbury. They're Pillsbury because I have better things to do with my time. I don't know what that means. Some people are like slinkies, not good for much, but bring a smile to your face when pushed down the stairs. I haven't heard that one in a long time. It's still brutal. Shell, same. I make my breakfast sandwiches at home. Yeah, they're way better. Cooking food for yourself is probably going to be a little bit more meaningful, right? Like you actually get to have a little bit more of an involvement. We have already been too far separated from our food sources. Same. Hard truth, Jiffy boxes, always in my stash. Make some pancake mix. Okay, more food comments. Skits and more food comments. New birthplace of the Slinky in Oliver Penzberg. The main place Hitler wanted to attempt to bomb of the U.S. mainland. Hitler was like, "Fuck the Slinky, fuck those people." Couldn't get them bombed. I use Pioneer. What the hell's happening? No, 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 no. My birthstone is opal. Do you have opals in your collection? I've been playing with the stones you gifted me more these days, Joy. I also have a goal of having traditional soul food with a black family. Growing up in a small family with boring food, the whole experience speaks to me hard. I have a dream coming to my mind. Gotta run, but I love you, each and every one of you. Have a stupendous day and give yourself a huge hug. Thank you for that reminder. Oh. I'm seeing uh, basically one of my psychedelic flowers, but round. Has like a round protruding center. Sending you lovins, Kristen. I don't know if you're even here anymore, but blessings to you, dear friend. Meeting canceled. Woo! Yeah. Now that's nice. Even more blessed. I'm happy to be spending a little bit more time with you. We have a Jamaican place here that gets really good reviews, Doug. There we go. Like you don't have to technically find a family. You can just go to that Jamaican place. And if you're really brave, and I don't know if you are, but be willing to just go and tune one of those people sitting at the tables and be like, "Can I sit with you and eat my food?" You know, more often than not, at least in my personal experience, they're not opposed to it. Hey, Cable, I can't possibly. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! I can't possibly, but I can though. Yes, you can. Not just black people. Yeah, not just black people. Any person, right? Go and like seriously try this. It's kind of fun. You'll learn a lot, right? Like just being willing. And I know, that might be cringeworthy, but one of the most beautiful experiences, to me at least, is just going and talking to random people, right? Like I feel like at the most I have been able to do that is at festivals where I almost make it like my purpose. Where the very first time I ever took LSD, like it was this. Okay, let me give you some context. At that point in my life, I was being very. I'm not going to do any drugs that Mother Earth hasn't created, kind of vibe, right? And then my friend Adam, he was like, dude, technically LSD is, another fungus, like, or you can get it from like a certain flower as well. The precursor chemical technically before it goes through the whole, chemical process. And there is still some. There's a bat flying around here. It's landing underneath the roof. Hey Google, what is the spiritual significance of seeing a bat? A bath. Nice. There we go. Dreams about bathing. No, I don't want to. Bat. Thank you. Bat, spirit animal. Because the bat is nocturnal and nests in dark caves, they are often symbols of death in many cultures. But do not worry, death has a diverse meaning and frequently signifies positive change in your life. The bat can symbolize the end of old ways. Yow! Skapow! So, coming back to the story I was telling. So I was being very snobbish, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do anything that Mother Nature didn't create directly. And then I got convinced, technically, right, by my friends to actually, try some LSD. And of course, we're not gonna do it the way we're supposed to do it, with proper set and setting. They give me LSD at the very first music festival that I've ever gone to. And they like give me my tab. I come up on the experience and I literally disappear. They don't see me for like 6 hours. And in that 6 hours, I'm like going from like friend group to friend group where I'm like literally I see people talking and I just go in like a creature of the night. I walk up to them and I start having conversations, like sharing with them that this is my very first LSD experience and, asking them about how long they've been in the scene and, like sharing my fascination with this world with them because I didn't know a world like that even existed. And it was, and it continues to be, one of the most beautiful experiences that I've had in my life. Allow yourself to talk to strangers. You'll like it more than you know, right? Go to a restaurant and join people that you don't know. Ask them, of course, first, and if they say no, go and ask the people at the table next to them, embarrass yourself a little bit. I also have a goal. I read the one. Go to run, love again. Malo, it was the main railroad pass to bring munitions into the European theater for World War II. I lived in that town for a year. It's actually where I adopted Buster from. More synchronicity. How about that? I love Jamaican food. Place out there didn't last long, but the red beans and rice was god tier. Nice. Do y'all eat biscuits? Nope. We don't do biscuits. We do scones. Kitty just spotted the bat. Look at her little face. Let me do the zoom lens. Like she knows that there's a bat. Look at her. She's like, yeah, I see something up there. It went and landed underneath there. I would have shown you if I could see it from here, but let me see if I can. It might fly away, all right? But that is a risk I'm willing to take. Hopefully I can capture it on camera. Kitty being like, what is that? What is that, Kitty? You know what that is? You know what that is? It's a bat. There it is. You see it? Meow, meow, meow. What is that? It's a little bat. He's licking himself. Yeah, it's a bat. I know. I know him. I see him too. Yeah, I see him too, kitty kitty. I see him too, yeah. It's interesting, huh? Yeah, I know. Okay. Okay, kitty. Leave the little bat alone. No, no, no. Let's get your friends. Boom. Okay. Do. All fast food is expensive now. It's ridiculous. Time to roll a blunt. Live vicariously for me. I'm still happy not smoking. Not only happy, in fact, but I feel like it's maybe that's the lesson that the bat is teaching today. Melting of old ways. That kitty is like painstakingly staring at that bat. Laser focused right now. You want to come to my lap? You want to come to my lap? Your indecisiveness is messing with my brain noggin. You need to make a choice. You need to either sit on my lap. You need to not sit on my lap. I can't possibly. That is true. The official table weed of Hoopy is Turbo by Foxholm. I'm guessing that's a brand. It was $8 for a breakfast sandwich, hash brown, and mango pineapple smoothie. Used to be for. I'm guessing that was supposed to be a number attached to that after 4, but I see none. Love to you again, Cavo. If you try and stop Earth made humans, humans made LSD, Earth made LSD. Yeah, the Earth intended for people to take LSD. All right, the Earth definitely intended for people to take mushrooms. And this is what I believe. You know, same for weed. Joy! Black people put the soul in their cooking, and I've never seen a more fun looking experience than a large cookout with a black family. I just want to experience it. Make a plan, dude. You know, connect with people. That's the best way to do it. Like, you'd be surprised how much people love. I've been listening to beehive sounds on YouTube for this thing it's doing. If you're doing that, do yourself a favor, Hoopy, and go and listen to volcanic vibrations as well. You know, those are like real tasty. Like, of course, the beehive sounds are gonna be nice, but the volcanic, like, it's like this low vibrational wham, 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 wham. It's so sick. I'm gaining Pippi. Yeah. My little Pokemon. Shooty patooty. Okay. Just because I'm an impulsive asshole, I just slammed the brakes, dumping all of my work tools everywhere, trying to chase the UPS guy on my way to work because he might have my new pants. Your new pants that you paid a bunch of bucks for, right? Your work pants. It's white people food, duck. Black Southerners wear fed scraps, corn pone, and intestines. So they had to figure out how to make it nice, right? White people making fun of black people decided to associate certain foods that they weren't even allowed to have. Yeah, the old ways of being, right? Again, thank you, little bat, for reminding us that those ways have melted away, finally. Joy, I come from Polish farmers. I grew up eating awful, as they call it, because most times that's all that was left. Yeah, Joy, I had no idea of the background of Southern food. There's a lot of it, actually. I have to admit, I've thought of it like Duck does too. Ain't in the history books we learn from. Thank you for educating us, Joy Vive. It's called Southern food, low country, or soul, all the same. Fried chicken thing is sadly hilarious. No shit, fried chicken tastes amazing, especially if you've never had the ability to have such a treat. Mel's cat voice, so cute. Thank you, Cable. I do talk to my cats. Every single time they meow at me, I meow right back at them. I have dialogue. I make sure they know that I heard them meowing, and I'll meow back at them. You have another kitty scratching little nails. I remember reading the background of the watermelon stereotype, just straight up racism. Who the fuck doesn't love watermelon? Agreed. That was like literally as I started reading your comment, I was like, everybody fucking likes watermelon, dude. Watermelon is nice, no matter your skin color. Struggle and scarcity is where ethnic cooking comes from. I want to experience as much outside my fractal as I can. Plus, the idea of cooking with a large family just makes my heart one thing. I mean, like cook with your neighbors. You can like have those, cookouts as like a family of one, just connecting with other families around you as well. Make mini communities. I always have watermelon in the fridge. I haven't had watermelon in like 3 months now. I do kind of miss it. I breathe in now. Cats care not for your consistency. They do what they want. This is your reminder to breathe deep. That is true. Our cats have absolutely no chill whatsoever. I saved a lizard, or technically a gecko, from Shelby yesterday while I was exercising. She had him in her little death claws. I'm just imagining to myself, the amount of anxiety that poor little gecko, experienced. And then a bigger entity got to save the smaller entity from the entity that was smaller than the bigger entity. And I was like, yeah, yeah, good. Get to save that little lizard. Dum dum di dum ba. Di dum ba. Ooh, volcano womps. Yeah, dude. Go and check it out, bro. You'll love it. Hey, Google, can you play me some volcano vibrations? Hey, vibrations of volcanoes. It's music, intuitive creations. Let's see if this is good stuff. Nah, no, that's just music, yo. Can't name your shiznit volcano vibrations and then claim that's the way it is. Rattle and roar. This might be one of them. This is a video that basically talks about the vibrations. So there was this new video about, will we be able to hear TED Talks from orcas? Maybe like if you want to experience what I experienced, go and search on YouTube. Can orcas give TED Talks, or could orcas give TED Talks in the future, or something like that? And it was basically a video about us using our technology and our sensors and our spectrum of sound detection, with more sensitive sensors to decode what other creatures say, the language they speak, and then also be able to potentially communicate with them. And there was this one segment where she played the sounds that the volcanoes make. And my brain, like I literally, as soon as I heard that sound, I had to close my eyes and just be present with that sound. It was so beautiful. I've noticed things like block parties, community cookouts, and other social activities just don't happen anymore. Like, where are all the chill festivals? Am I the only one wondering? People are separating themselves right now, Sam. We have been conditioned to fear one another, right? Especially with like that sickness that shall not be named, it like really brutalized us a little bit. Bats are important pollinators, true, and don't typically carry disease, contrary to popular belief. Yeah, I love bats actually. Like bats are unfortunately greatly disliked in South Africa as well, but they always seem to be like, at least to me, fascinating creatures. The fact that they have ultrasound, and they use that to like locate their little prey. And the prey, in that video as well, the prey like make their own ultrasound sounds to try and like counter, so that they can like kind of like disorient the bats. It's like a whole little battle that's happening, without our minds knowing about it at all. Sam, my town made block parties permit only. It's easier for me to get an assault rifle than a block party permit. Nice. America, fuck yeah, coming to save a mother. Doesn't summer here caught of rabies. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. He who is everywhere non attached, neither joyously excited by encountering good, nor disturbed by evil, has an established wisdom. Very stoic of you to say so, Hoopy. Agreed. That's the thing. They sleep in pods of 300 or more. They even share dialects. And when one of them has a disease, it spreads throughout the pod. And we have high concentration of disease. That's why that myth exists. Exactly. Oh man, Mel, talking about sitting down with strangers eating, I have an excellent story for dog talks. But the first time I had tacos de seso. Sounds amazing, bro. Like, thank you for being willing to share that story as well. Do, right? Make a live stream. I see you delete your live streams, bro. Do you? Why do you do that? Oh, why are you doing that? Right? You should save them, bro. Like, it's documentation. You're becoming a person of the internet. If you delete them, that data is lost. Maybe you like that, but that sounds like an atrocity to me. Unless you're Amara. Amara doesn't like watermelon. No. I took some watermelon home for the barbecue this weekend. More for us, Shan. Exactly. I'm happy that you're serving your loved ones. Joy V. Joe, interesting. I love bats. I actually want to put up a bat house someday. That would be so cool. You should do story streams. You haven't streamed in a long time. How would you get the bats to go in the bat house? That would probably be the hardest part. I missed Ducker's last stream and I haven't completely forgiven myself for it just yet. Just mostly. Love is true, nonetheless, Joe. Joe. Joy, my mom just dropped off half a watermelon that weighs over 15 pounds, 7.5 kilograms. It's like a old lady. How did you even get this in the car? She said, I had someone do it. I just need assistance. Your watermelon's too big. The screcograph has come and nobody from the scientific community cared to listen. Your watermelon is too big. You put the Batman light inside of the house. This little bug flying in my field of vision. And then they were, oh, that could actually be one way. Bat signal. Instead of Batman showing up, just a bunch of bats do. I love bats. Yeah, Pippi is also noticing the bugs. I had one make its home in my roof one summer. Love is true. Don't get dark colored bat houses. They get too hot for them. There we go. Of course, Joe, the one that teaches us. And they're supposed to face east or something. I took a bat class last summer. I wish I could recall all of the info. It's in there somewhere. You shared, I feel like, some of the most important stuff. Sorry, Joy. I really want to. I just haven't figured out a way to put it into my schedule. Summers are crazy with family and work. Of course, you took a god. Yeah, right. So dope. Plus, my phone constantly shuts down working from the overheat. I understand, Doc. My phone has been overheating a lot, and it's just on my couch. I wonder if it's because it's old. Might be, at least in part. Just makes them private, I think, Mel. The streams are still there. Okay. That's good at least. Yeah. I feel like it's important, just from a historical perspective. Let's pull a card. Close the stream off for the day. Oh no, I'm dropping my stuff. Pippi was sinking her little nails into my leg. Yes, loan companies operate fully within the law, Maula. We need to fix it. Loan companies. Am I missing context? The last thing he said was there's a bat in the roof. Or maybe the scientific community who cared to listen. Whoa, South African bats. I'm so confused right now. Maybe you're only seeing the bat that I showed now or something? Let's see what sacred geometry has to say. This one. Ooh. That's kind of trippy. Didn't we pull card 47 yesterday? Upside down, card number 44. Spiraling into love. I think this might be the most sexual card in the deck. But it doesn't have to be sexual. Love doesn't have to be sexual. I don't know. You don't have squirrels on the farm, but you do have them in South Africa. We do have them in South Africa, yeah. Just not here. They do live at some places. We have meerkats though, like land squirrels essentially. One more time. So many spirals. Yes, we did. Of course, number 44, directly followed by number 47. New moon was yesterday. Of course, more abundance. The way Mel sung made the I Wanna Be Like You Jungle Book song stuck in my head. Ooby doo, I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you, talk like you, it's true. I said, ooby doo, I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you, talk like you, it's true. Intimacy and communication. Into me, I see. The reverse meaning goes you may be wrapped up in your own story, or you may feel misunderstood. I feel like, I don't know if Zano is still here, but that might be the way that our stream started. You have meerkats? Yeah, a lot. My uncle has meerkats on his farm, even. Apparently, they can be a little bit of a nuisance. You do your best to step out of your ego and gently speak your truth. Yeah, if only Zana was here. I think she'd love this card right now. The spiral helix of our DNA whirls around this sacred couple, quickening communication of their intimacy. Human DNA, human DNA helps connect us to the web of creation. It holds ancestral knowledge as well as future potential in a vast library of information. Also, swirling around this cloud, around this couple, are spirals of possibility that they have only to recognize in order to activate as they experience both human sexuality and universal love. This information stimulates their conscious decision to communicate with genuine intimacy. There are many styles of communication. Simple words may be effective for making a statement or providing instructions. However, when concepts and emotions enter the exchange, words often fail to convey the message intended. This card, oh, this card asks you to view the way you communicate. Do you speak from your heart with respect and serenity? Do you truly listen to the people with whom you are speaking? Resolve to look into the eyes of the person, of the person with whom you are communicating, and recognize the marvelous being that stands or sits in front of you. Observe both your own and the other's body language and feel their essence. Listen with discernment before you respond. Here it comes. There it is. Yeah, formulate your words as if they are prayers wanting to be shared. With gentle grace and positive intent, speak your truth in the most intimate way that you are able. What a card. We haven't pulled it in a while. I feel it was so worthy of today's stream. Spiraling into love. Thank you, Francine Hart. Love is true. I will spiral into love instead of into hatred. One day at a time, all the way to where we're supposed to go. Can I ride your car, Lion, when I visit? You can take it for all the spins you want to enjoy. I'll give you full access to the keys. Oh, no. Reading time. Love is true. Mel does a lovely singing voice, Joe. Thank you. Joy Leave. I don't not believe you, but I feel my skill is definitely not necessarily singing. Especially, in comparison to someone like John. Like John's singing voice, melts my brain listening to it. Oh, good, Cable. Thanks for asking. I'm good. Thanks, Cable. Thanks for asking. Love is true. Thank you for letting us know. I was hoping that by saying it, he'd sing it. Manifest. Manifesting. Sam, been a while since we've chatted. How are you doing? Love is true. Formulate your words as if they're prayers wanting to be shared. One of my favorite lines from that whole little book. How's your shoulder friend? K Dog opened his house, made one for Mr. Shell, and posted it on all the yummies. I'm making poor art, Cable. It's been kind of exhilarating to produce different kinds of art. I'm proud of you for making things, beloved Sam. Ducks, neighbors, don't want more time with Duck lol. Yeah, I get it. Needed that. Love is true. Install a bell in the neighbor, ring it once, and begin demanding you all switch houses. That's hilarious. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Hoopy. Always a blessing. Thank you, friends. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I dropped my microphone. I'm sorry to you as well. Put this up in here, and then we'll play some calimbers. Just for a moment. I'll do 2 minutes today. Ski Bop. Love is true. Thank you, friends, for joining me. Again, sorry, Joy Vive. I knew it was going to be loud. Like, ever since I noticed that the kalimba sounds a little bit better if I add a little bit more gain to this microphone. I have it like at +8 gain. And I knew as soon as I dropped it, it was going to come through like an explosion on your friends' side. So I had to like instantly apologize. I'm sorry. I bought one of Sam's paintings. It's true. Celebrating Joy for doing that. Sam actually mentioned in yoga that you were one of her first people. And I'm saying one of her first because I wanted to be many more. Thank you, Joy, for supporting our friends. I'm so excited to get it. Have you sent it yet, Sam? Work begins now. Love you, Shell. I'm so happy that it's going to you, Joy. I took a lot of gambles with that pour, and I was not sure of the outcome. The The green something. I remember the name only in hindsight, mildly. It sounds like art, Sam. It is. Oh, absolutely. I don't delete them. I do lock them, yeah. But the duck that is definitely behind. It's hard balancing act because it was the same. It's the same name business. I don't think it would be palatable for my customer base. You'd be surprised, bro. People don't buy things, they buy stories, right? And I honestly believe you would make more sales if you would lean into your story, right? People would be more willing to support a dad, right? A duck dad who is taking care of his family than they would, just some sort of faceless corporation. You were loved, bro. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I love you all so, so very, very superest, duperest, extremely, tremendously, humongously, gigantically, ginormously, dearly. Melt in all of you absolutely, so very amazingly, wonderfully, spectacularly, fascinatingly, breathtakingly, memorizingly, miraculously, magically, loving friends. As we love you, dear Shan. Thank you for joining me once again for this conscious evolution. It is so. We have consciously evolved. Even more limiting beliefs transcended. Now it's up to us to go and accept it. Accepting pain. Realizing that we can endure everything by the power of love. I love you, friends, so very much. Bye, Zano. Thank you for joining us again. Finding yourself in this moment, for showing up regardless of what we might think of this experience. It means more than I can say. We'll do it again tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll see you again tomorrow. Love you.